In this clip, I'm just going to finish up talking about the real-time effects pop-up menu. Alright, next we have your scrub high quality. Scrubbing is when you click and hold your tool and then you just go back and forth. That's called scrubbing, going back and forth on the clips. Now, if you want to just speed up the process, you can take off scrub high quality. So now you're scrubbing at a less of a quality, your image quality. It's really up to you. I usually keep it on. Now below that is your playback video quality. And this is the quality that you see in your canvas when you play it back. And you can change that between dynamic, high, medium, and low. The default is dynamic. And dynamic will basically read your machine and will play it in high, medium, or low accordingly, depending on what the render status is, how many effects are applied to a layer, and how quickly it thinks it can play it. But you're more than welcome to just set high, medium, or low, but I personally use dynamic. Usually if you just want to work really fast, you'll just set it to low. Below that now you have playback frame rate. The frame rate is basically just that. You know, you're watching it at about 30 frames per second. So by turning the frame rate down, you're playing less frames. So instead of watching it at 30 frames per second, if it's at half, you'll basically be viewing the video playing at 15 frames per second. So you can get the gist of what you're watching, you're just not watching it in actual, fullness. So you're missing out on a few frames. Dynamic will just go ahead and automatically adjust that for you. Again, I prefer just to leave it dynamic. And that is why when you're playing over these unrendered clips, that's why it skips frames. Because the dynamic for frame rate is working for you, setting it to half or quarter. Below that is multi-clip playback. If you're using multi-clips, you'll want to have that checked. We're not going to talk about multi-clips right now, but just keep it in mind. We'll come back to it later on. Down at the bottom here, you have record to tape. Now, when you're exporting and you're going to record to tape, you set up your camera, you will put in your tape, and then basically, while the timeline is playing, you'll hit record on the camera. That's what record to tape is. So if you can switch between these two settings. You can do use playback settings or full quality. If you use playback settings, whatever these settings are for your playback, that's how it will be recorded onto your tape. Now, full quality is no matter what these settings are, when you do record to tape, it will play back at full quality no matter what. So I always keep that on full quality because there's really no point. I can't even think of a point of recording to a tape with crappy settings. That just doesn't make any sense to me, unless you're just sending it out to have someone preview it. But just always keep it on full quality. That's my suggestion. So again, it's just kind of all how you want to work. If you want to work faster, you put the quality for your playback down and you can go through everything faster. And then at the end, you can bring it all back up and render it and watch it in full time. If you have a more powerful machine, you can handle it all at high playback quality.